Good evening, everybody, and welcome back to the Devils TV, the realist channel on YouTube. And this is going to be a Manchester United news show. We've not done one of these in a while. And if you're watching on YouTube, if you're watching on TikTok, if you're watching on Twitter, wherever you're watching us, make sure you leave a like on the video or whatever, hearts, share, all that jazz. But let's get right into the video. So in this video, we're going to be talking about the Michael Olise situation and are Manchester United out of the race, Erik ten Hag, and if he's going to survive as Manchester United manager or not, who will Ineos replace, and as well Bruno Fernandes is his contract situation. So I'm joined by Viral today on YouTube, so if you can't watch the full stream, check us out on YouTube or Twitter or X, what Elon Musk calls it now, and then obviously if you're watching through TikTok you can just see myself. But anyway, so Viral, first of all, Michael Olise, do you think that the right wing spot is a position Manchester United should be targeting, or do you think we should be going for other priorities in the squad?
Yes, first of all, thanks for having me, Dan.
No worries.
It's a really nice gesture from me. Yes, I do believe that United do need a winger because I feel like what we have as wingers, we lack creativity from our wingers because Rashford also puts his heads down and looks for a shot. Garnacho also does the same thing. We had Sancho, but it seems like he will be sold this summer. So I feel like we definitely need a winger like Olise because one thing which he brings to the table is the creative aspect. Because there are matches even when Bruno also does a silly pass or one or two. So in Olise, there is a consistent playmaker in the field, which we are definitely lacking. So if we can add that in this summer transfer market, I feel like it would be a great deal of benefit.
Okay, yeah,
to our squad.
The people who watch it on TikTok as well, would you, if you're a United fan or wherever you're supporting, if you support a rival club, whatever, do you think Manchester United should be targeting a right winger, or do you think we should be targeting another position? But Viral, obviously, for going back to YouTube, that I do completely agree. You know, the right wing spot, I do think we need a lot more quality. We definitely need a lot more quality when it comes to wingers. I mean, Rasmus Højlund, the amount of service he's not received throughout the season has been ridiculous. I mean, I saw a statistic a couple of weeks ago that Rasmus Højlund only had 39 shots on goal throughout the season, and he scored 15 of them. So considering when he's actually shooting on target, he actually had quite a good goal return ratio. So I do agree with you, obviously, with the possibility of Sancho leaving. Obviously with the Sancho situation, apparently he's not being sold. There's going to be another loan deal, which would be frustrating, but I feel like this is where Ineos can kind of capitalise. So instead of us doing an option to buy like we have done with previous loan deals, we should do an obligation to buy. So considering United paid, I think it was with €9 million or something for Amrabat as a loan deal. So I feel like what we should do with Sancho is ask for a minimum of 15 million for a loan fee, and then an obligation to buy for 30, 40, 50 million, whatever the price tag of Jadon Sancho and how he's valued in the market value. So I do believe that getting someone like Olise is crucial, but as a priority signing, I do feel like this is where United need to be smart, because obviously we finished 8th in the Premier League. Obviously we did get Europa League by smashing City in the FA Cup final. But at the same time, I do believe that United need to be careful and smart when it comes to transfer strategy. So for me, I feel like that centre-halves, midfielders and another striker are a must. Doesn't matter, even though Olise would completely change the way Manchester United would play football, I do personally believe that a right winger at the moment isn't the priority, because Sancho and Erik ten Hag might make up, and we might see Sancho in the squad next season. Amad Diallo on the rise as well, or even Garnacho back on the right wing. We don't know how it's going to work out, but going forward, and with Michael Olise, do you think that Chelsea will sign him? Do you think he'll go at Crystal Palace, or do you think he will stay? Or do you think he will come to United?
I believe that if both United and Chelsea are in it, seeing the track record, I would put my money on Chelsea signing him, because Chelsea is a club who puts an eye on a player, they definitely signs as well. Just like Tosin as well. We heard the rumors that Newcastle wanted him. But when Chelsea entered the race, I felt that Chelsea are going to sign him, because Chelsea do not miss out on signings. Similarly to Mudryk as well. Arsenal wanted till the very end, but when Chelsea entered, they splashed a lot of money and Mudryk signed for Chelsea. So similarly, as we know that we also wanted Olise in the winter market as well as in the previous summer market. We have scouted him thoroughly.
Yeah.
But I believe if Chelsea enters, there is a chance he might go there. And also, our manager situation is also not even sorted. So, what do we put towards a player that in which manager or how do we present a project to a player as well?
Yeah.
Chelsea has a structure, Chelsea as a manager, they can put forward a better project as well. So, Olise might think that in this summer transfer window, Chelsea has a better option and they also might pay him more wages as well. So there is a high chance if both United and Chelsea are in it, Chelsea can sign him.
Yeah, see, the way that I look at it, obviously, if Chelsea are the ones that seem to be the favourites leading the race when it comes to signing Michael Olise, and he would be a very good signing for Chelsea. It's like I said, with United, it'd be a great signing for both teams, but do both teams need him? I mean, you've got Cole Palmer, for example, at Chelsea. He's been majority of their right winger, but they've also got players like Madueke. They've also got players like Sterling.
And Kunku.
Right, and Kunku as well. So they've got multiple options. So I'm looking at it and being like, are Chelsea being greedy here unless they actually offload certain players in the summer? But like I said, Michael Olise is a brilliant player. And I feel like that he would get into a lot of Premier League sides. You know, Crystal Palace have got a real gem there. And I remember on the last video that we did together, obviously we talked about Amorim from Wolves. We talked about Michael Olise. We talked about Palhinha from Fulham. A lot of Premier League gems that Man United should be targeting and other Premier League clubs should be targeting as well. So obviously with Michael Olise, I feel like he would be a brilliant buy. But in my opinion, I just think right now it isn't the priority signing. But obviously the bigger topic that we should be talking about is the Erik Ten Hag situation. Now, people on TikTok as well, Twitter, wherever you're watching, do you think Erik Ten Hag should stay at Manchester United or do you think he should leave? For me, I back Erik Ten Hag full-heartedly, but again, it's very 50-50 when you look at the statistics and the majority of fans who want Ten Hag to stay or leave. So, Viral, what are your thoughts on Ten Hag? Would you like him to stay or would you like him to go? And obviously people for TikTok as well, do you want Erik Ten Hag to stay or go?
We can divide Ten Hag's tenure at United into 2 seasons. In first season, he finished third and also won as the Carabao Cup.
Yeah.
Now in second season, there were a lot of injuries due to which Varane and Martinez also played rarely. His first teams were not available. Mason Mount was almost injured for the whole season. Lisandro Martinez was injured for more than half of the season. You know, we didn't have any left back for almost a season. Luke Shaw also played quite less. Malacia didn't feature in any of the games, neither in preseason nor in the real season. So I do feel like Erik Ten Hag was thoroughly hit by injuries in his second season, but he still managed to win us the FA Cup. He still managed to outclass Pep Guardiola in front of 90,000 people in the Wembley Stadium, which not a lot of people can say. I also heard a stat that Erik Ten Hag is the first or second manager to beat Pep Guardiola in a cup final. So it is also a massive achievement as well. So you cannot undermine these kind of achievements.
Yeah.
So I do feel that we will also play in the Europa League as well. So there will be Europa League money as well, which will be coming to our club. So also Erik Ten Hag also has a 3-year contract. We already are 2 year into the project. So I do feel that Ten Hag deserves one more season. And during the season, we can decide whether at the end of the season he deserves a new contract on new terms or not. So I do believe, and also we have to look at the current options which are available as managers.
Yeah, I agree with you. I do believe Erik Ten Hag will stay, and that's not just because I back him and I believe that Ineos should be sticking with Erik Ten Hag. But in my opinion, what I believe is that I feel like that Ineos really want Gareth Southgate. Now, I don't want Gareth Southgate anywhere near my club. Him and his waistcoat can stay in Germany where the Euros is. Because for me, Erik Ten Hag, it doesn't even matter if it's Erik Ten Hag or not, just anyone but Gareth Southgate.
Hmm.
Like, honestly, I dig up my dead hamster in the garden, and he'll be better than Gareth Southgate when it comes to managing Manchester United. Honestly, Gareth Southgate is the worst candidate that you could have. I mean, he's lucky that he's currently England manager, but
Hmm.
he's a crap player. As it comes to club manager, he wasn't the best. He's just a puppet, and is that the type of person or manager Ineos wants? Maybe, but when it comes to tactics, like you see these reports about Jason Wilcox and how he's
Hmm.
demanding Ten Hag to play the Man United way or more faster tracking football. Gareth Southgate doesn't play that. Gareth Southgate's
Hmm.
plays like it's hot potato, and they hardly control possession. It's only because that you've got world class players in the England setup. It's just why we win games, but if you look at statistics against massive teams in European competitions for England, we don't do that well. And we haven't won a European competition. I don't understand the hype around England when it comes to it because, as an actual unit and squad, I don't think we have enough winners in the team, in my opinion, or we don't have that manager that has the winning mentality to guide the team to victory. And it'll be the same for Manchester United. I do think Gareth Southgate's a lovely bloke, and but as a United manager, as a United fan, I don't want him anywhere near my club. And I'm not going to get into his history and all that stuff when it comes to his actual win percentage and stuff because anyone can be like Indonesia. Like, that's not me being like offensive
True.
to them, but stick me at left back and I'll
True.
probably score a goal against them. So at the end of the day,
Hmm.
I just personally believe that Gareth Southgate is the worst candidate for Manchester United. Obviously, the names like Tuchel, obviously you got Potter as well or Deserve.
Hmm. Deserby.
Tuchel is. I see. I wouldn't even accept Tuchel, but out of all the options that have been mentioned, if Ten Hag was to go, I would bring in Tuchel. But anyway, I've ranked on enough. Do you think Ten Hag's going to stay, or do you think that he'll go?
I personally feel the longer the process is drawn out, I feel higher the chances for him is to stay because we will appoint because we will take nearly a week to appoint a new manager as well. He will have to do the social media duties as well. So I feel like the longer the announcement is in waiting, the longer I feel he will stay.
Yeah, but that's fair enough. Obviously,
I also don't understand the obsession. I also heard a report that Dan Ashworth is a huge admirer of Gareth Southgate. I also don't understand why Gareth Southgate is being touted as the number one priority for Manchester United as a new manager.
that's one of the massive concerns because like
Because if we
there's quite a few fans that are saying that Ineos kind of want to go the Brexit approach, where they want to
Brexit,
sign a lot of English players. They want to sign the English manager and all that stuff. Obviously, they're just like articles that you don't really pay attention to, but it does raise a concern because you look at the signings that United are apparently going in for. You see the likes of Bramthwaite from
Brentford,
Everton. You see the likes of Ivan Toney for Brentford. There's quite a few English players that are linked to them.
Mount from previous summer.
Yeah, exactly. So for me, I just look at it and I'm like, for me, Eric Ten Hag's the right man to take United forward. I mean, 2 trophies out of his 3
Two
finals.
trophies.
But yeah, a very good situation.
First manager to first manager to win consecutive trophies after Sir Alex Ferguson. So it's also a huge
Exactly.
achievement.
Exactly. So it's not like he's a terrible manager, but he said it after the FA Cup final win that when I have my players, I can win football games. But he
Hmm.
also said that if the club don't want me anymore, then I will go and I will win trophies at another club. And I love that arrogance from Eric Ten Hag because he's there saying, if you don't want me, I'll fuck off then and I'll
True.
go win trophies anywhere else. And I've said, if Manchester United sack Eric Ten Hag and it's an absolute disgrace, I actually hope that that Eric Ten Hag's team that would face Manchester United bend us over and slap us on both cheeks sideways before the end of the first half, because I know we would make a massive mistake if we brought in Gareth Southgate for the likes of Eric. So the way I look at it is that Eric Ten Hag's the right man for the job. Yes, his signings haven't worked out in the likes of Mason Mount,
True.
Anthony,
Anthony.
Casemiro, but the likes of Andre Onana, Johnny Evans, Lisandro Martinez, Tyrell Malacia in the first season. You know, it's not been all doom and gloom, and obviously
Rasmus Højlund as well.
Yeah, Rasmus Højlund as well. So, you know, like there's certain signings that have been made that are actually okay and aren't a complete failure. So
Also,
yeah, go on.
Also the youth injection that he made from the likes of Kobe Mainoo and Alejandro Garnacho as well this season.
And obviously that's one massive thing that Eric Ten Hag has brought to this Manchester United side is that youth. I mean, United fans were really, really hesitant about youth players after the Mason Greenwood situation. Like Mason Greenwood, like before the incident happened, Mason Greenwood was on fire. He was a generational talent. He looked absolutely incredible. But then obviously the situation happens with Greenwood. We then bring through Anthony Elanga, and he was a good player, but he wasn't United quality. But then we get the Garnachos, we get Mainoo, we get these players that have the United swagger. They've got the arrogance, they've got the confidence, and they've got everything that being a youth player at Manchester United is about. And Amari Forson, Ethan Wheatley. It's not just the Garnachos and Mainoos you've seen under Eric Ten Hag. You've seen multiple. You've seen Willie Cambuella as well. Like Eric Ten Hag will project youth and he will bring them through, and that's obviously his history with Ajax and nurturing and trusting these younger players. So if Manchester United's DNA is based on youth and playing the United way, attacking, exciting football, Eric Ten Hag is your man.
Yes.
But at the same time, Ineos can't be beggars and choosers when they're also asking for Gareth Southgate, because Gareth Southgate will just pick the players that will give him a rim job at the end of the day. Like Gareth Southgate's an absolute, I'm not even going to say the word. But anyway, moving on to Bruno Fernandes. Now, our captain, for me, the most important player in the United dressing room. I mean, there's a report that Bruno Fernandes is wanting £300,000 a week. Now, Viral, what would you say when it comes to them wages? Because for me, I was shocked to see how Bruno Fernandes is only on £190,000 a week. I know that's a lot of money, but when you see Mason Mount on 250, Jadon Sancho on 250, Casemiro on 350 grand a week, Bruno Fernandes,
Rashford,
exactly, Rashford as well. Like Bruno Fernandes should be the highest paid player in the squad because he does the most work. He's the captain. He gets the most goals and assists. I mean, here's a stat for you, and here's a stat for TikTok as well if people don't know this, that since Bruno Fernandes has joined Manchester United, only Bruno Fernandes and Lionel Messi have achieved the same goals or assists since that time frame. Bruno Fernandes has got 79 goals and 66 assists in 230 appearances or something daft like that. So when people are saying Bruno Fernandes is the issue or sell Bruno Fernandes, like I'm one of them fans where I don't want to let Bruno Fernandes go whatsoever. He's one of my favourite players. But I also know he's too good for us. He can go to a Real Madrid or he can go to a Barcelona. He can go anywhere in Europe and make a success. And this is why I love how he's showing loyalty towards Manchester United, because when he first joined, he said that it's been his dream to play at Manchester United, which for me was a surprise because majority of Portuguese players want to go and play in Spain. They want to play in the Liga and play in the Champions League. But Bruno Fernandes loves Manchester United. He loves the country. He loves the city. He loves everything about the club, and that's why for me he's the perfect candidate for being United captain. But what do you think of Bruno Fernandes? Do you think he deserves a new contract, or do you think that it's too high and he should negotiate the price?
See, the players you have mentioned like Casemiro, Marcus Rashford, Mason Mount, we have given them a lot of contracts for almost 3, 4, 5 years as well. So I do believe we have done a mistake in those players by giving them such a massive contracts, due to which I do believe Bruno Fernandes is right to ask for much better terms in the wages as well. So I believe he is the most important. I also believe that he is the most important team player both on and off the pitch as well, because of the pitch he brings us passion, enthusiasm. He is the captain of our club. So I do believe Bruno Fernandes deserves this contract, and also the pass to Kobe Mainoo in the FA Cup final shows exactly why we should save him and not transfer list him, because it is very difficult. It will be very easy to sell this player, but it will
Yeah,
be very difficult to replace such kind of player. Because one of the things which is very underrated in Bruno Fernandes is the availability. He never gets injured as well. So one thing that we can blindly trust him is the availability. He can easily play 55 to 60 games a season.
yeah, I completely agree with you. And obviously, we're talking about Bruno Fernandes. Obviously, would you say that he could solidify himself as a club legend if he does stay at Manchester United and have a successful career? Because, Bruno Fernandes, he didn't win anything under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Obviously, the first 2 seasons there at Ten Hag, he's won the Carabao Cup, he's won the FA Cup.
FA Cup.
Now, I feel like that this is the make or break for Eric Ten Hag. And next season, we have to get Champions League football. And whether that's through getting top four or winning the Europa League, that's for me the requirement that Ratcliffe is going to set for Eric Ten Hag. And I think that's a fair assessment, because if Eric Ten Hag doesn't get Champions League football next season, I feel like Ineos can then say, right, well, we've given you a full season, we've given you some players that you wanted, you've tried to play the way that we've asked you to, and it's just not worked out. It's best we part ways. You don't get a new contract, we'll find someone else. Then that's fair. But I want us to stick by this manager. I think Eric Ten Hag is an amazing manager. He's methodical, he's stern. He's everything that I've wanted in a manager for so long, and he's made me fall back in love with Manchester United. I mean, I've always supported Manchester United, but there's something about this manager that makes me love Manchester United even more. It doesn't matter whether we win, lose, or draw. I back him full-heartedly, and a lot of fans have lost that emotion and feeling towards Manchester United. So for me, we should keep Eric Ten Hag. Bruno Fernandes, get the Rio Ferdinand. When what was it? When Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was interim manager, it was like, this is what he does. Put the contracts on the table and all that stuff. That's what we should be doing for Bruno Fernandes. Bruno Fernandes is the last player we should be thinking of selling, and the first player to any issue he's got, any requirement he wants, you give it to him, because he is the most important player in this dressing room, in my opinion. And with the Michael Olise situation, he's a very good player, but like I said, centre-back, midfielders and striker are a bigger priority. And then if we go in for Michael Olise, if he's still available, then brilliant. But I feel like once United have got all their business done when it comes to centre-back, midfielder and striker, I don't think Olise will be available. But if he's available, Palace will want crazy money for him, because the longer the window goes on for, the higher their asking price is going to go up, because Palace have already made 2 signings in the summer already. Like, if they make 4, 5, 6 signings and actually get an Elise replacement ready, then they won't need to sell Elise. They could just say, like, okay, well, but Elise and this other right winger can be back up to one another, or Eze can play right wing or something like that. Like, what Crystal Palace for me are going to be dark horses next season. I personally believe that they actually might get mid-table, possibly even Conference League, because I feel like what we saw with their manager towards the end of the season, it was a massive spark, and you saw something in the Crystal Palace players that you've not seen all season, especially from Palace fans. So let me ask you something. Obviously, exclude Michael Olise out of the picture. If you could sign one player to Manchester United in the summer, who would you sign?
I think my priority signing would be a DM, because I feel like Casemiro will be sold this summer, and also even if he is not sold, I feel like we have seen enough of him, and I do feel that we need a replacement of him, because his form has dropped drastically from last season as well.
Yeah.
So I do feel like we need a DM for the first team as well. So there are 2 names which are being mentioned. One is João Neves from Benfica, and another one is Ederson from Atlanta.
Yeah.
One, Ederson would cost around 30 to 40 million, and Benfica are saying they want 120 million release clause. So I do feel the more expected signing is Ederson from Atlanta. So I do feel like if we sign Ederson...
The thing is about Ederson from Atalanta is that I've looked at him, and he's not a traditional 6 that or a DM. Like, he can play in that role, but he's more like a ball-winning midfielder, like what Fred was, but a much better version of Fred.
Mm-hmm.
He's got the physicality and strength to actually fight in the Premier League. But there's talks of Liverpool coming in for him. There's
The scary thing is we are not linked with any other DMs. And we all know how slow United are in the transfer market. So this is a scary part as well. Because we know that we cannot spend 120 million on one player.
Yeah, I agree.
And as you said, Ederson is not a typical number 6 as well. So this is a very, I feel as United fans, it is very scary times ahead as well. Because we do not have any track record of Ineos as well. At least we had a track record for Glazers.
Yeah.
And Glazers also did signings in June and mid-July. I am not seeing any news that we are very advanced for a player because at this time, at least one or two players, we are almost sure that they are coming to United in July. But at this moment in this year, we are not sure of any player. At one time, Todibo is coming to United, at the other time, is not.
Yeah.
So I do feel it is.
I feel like this is the way I see it. Is that so? I think it's on. I think it's in a week today. We get the fixtures released for the pre-season tour. I know we've got Rangers and I think it's a German team next week at some point, but that'll be just the youth team. But first team pre-season will be like as the Euros goes on and stuff. So the fixtures are going to be released towards the end of next week, I've been told. So obviously I'll look forward to seeing that, but I'm just thinking that Ineos need to start waking up and being careful because you've got teams already doing transfer business.
True.
So I'm looking
Chelsea, Tosin.
So I feel like that Ineos haven't prepared whatsoever, and this is where they need to be careful because United's relationship with the Glazers, well, United fans' relationship with the Glazers, isn't a good one. And for Ineos's first season as Manchester United co-owners, they cannot have a bad summer and let down the fans because they can't spend all summer, whether it's targeting a certain player or will they sack Eric Ten Hag or keep him. They can't do that. They need to be direct. They need to make a decision because the sooner they make that decision, the faster we can all get along with it and be prepared for next season. Because where Eric Ten Hag and United went wrong this season for me isn't the injuries, isn't the tactics, it's the preparation. If you look at the start of last season, we had Mason Mount brought in for the start of pre-season. He played 2 45-minute games in 2 halves, which was against Leeds and another team, but I can't remember what they're called. And then we brought in Andre Onana, and then we brought in Johnny Evans. This was halfway through pre-season. And then we brought in Rasmus Højlund against Arsenal, which was the 3rd or 4th game of the Premier League. Now, you tell me that's good preparation. It's not. Eric Ten Hag is a manager that wants all his players available for that first game of pre-season. Now, I understand the Euros and stuff. Obviously, it's going to hold to that and stuff. But the Euros wasn't last season. So, the Euros wasn't start to this season. So, what was stopping them in the summer? Pointless idiots in the wrong positions. That's why United failed this season. I think it was due to the preparation, not the injuries and not the tactics. But obviously, just before we go, is there anything else you'd like to add?
And just another thing is that there are also not any rumors that we are going to sell any players. I feel like we have to arrange some amount of funds so that we can buy players from selling as well. So we are also not working on selling any of the players. Rafael Varane, Anthony Martial are being gone because they were out of contract. But we are also not, I feel like we need to resolve the Jadon Sancho and Mason Greenwood situation as soon as possible. Because I don't think neither the fans nor the players want to come in July at Carrington for training as well. So I feel like if we can sort those 2 transfers before pre-season training, because those 2 transfers will bring majority of money as well, which we can reinvest in signings as well.
Yeah, I completely agree with you, obviously. Like I said, well, we haven't heard anything on transfers. We haven't heard anything on the likes of selling players as well. We haven't heard the Ten Hag situation. They just need to make a decision now. If we haven't received the news by the end of the week, when it comes to Sunday at midnight or Monday midnight, whatever you want to call it, that we need to have a decision and an announcement on Eric Ten Hag's future, because otherwise it's just going to carry on all through the week again
True.
and just be in the same cycle. Because at this point, I want Eric Ten Hag to stay desperately, but at this point, I'm just there. Like, it's like when you've got a gun to your head. Let's say, for example, you're getting mugged or something, and a bad guy, not bad guy, but I don't know, but someone's trying to mug you anyway. They've got a gun to your head or a knife, whatever, and they say to you, like, and they're just holding it there. And at this point, you're just there, like, are you gonna kill me or what? Like, just put me out of misery or let me go. Like, that's how it's become at this point. Like, I want Ten Hag to stay. Absolutely. But at this point, I'm getting bored because no decision's been made. But that's it. At the end of the day, obviously, we'll have to see. But thank you for everyone who's watched on TikTok, YouTube, and Twitter. Obviously, I really appreciate all the support. Not as many comments tonight, but obviously, I always appreciate everyone who's tuned in, whether it's for 1 second or through the full stream. I really appreciate everyone who's watched. But anyway, thank you for watching. Viral, can you tell everyone where we can find you, mate?
Yes, you can follow me on Twitter at United Nonu and on YouTube Viral Ajmera, just like the name here is.
Yeah.
I hope Dan, you've been a great host. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. Yeah, obviously, it's always a pleasure to have you. And obviously, to everyone who is still watching, we'll be going live tomorrow at 10 a.m. Obviously, talk about, again, more transfer news. We might even do a bit of Euro, like, predictions and stuff for United players. So if you're interested, live on TikTok, live on YouTube, we'll be back at 10 o'clock in the morning. So anyway, thank you for watching. Make sure you leave a like on the video or a heart if you are on TikTok. And we'll see you all in the next one. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you.